I can't do it.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Right.
Fucking thing sucks.
In 5, 4, 3.
Anyone claiming that America's economy is in decline is peddling fiction.
I've abandoned free market principles to save the free market system.
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
Raising the debt ceilings does not increase our debt. It does not somehow promote profligacy.
I know words. I have the best words. Nobody knows the system better than me, which is why I alone can fix it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Peddling Fiction Podcast. I'm your host, the voice and soul of so-called fiction, Johnny Profita. Back with me to get another week started on a Tuesday afternoon is Justin Hillbilly Boy Campbell. What's up, man? How was your Easter weekend?
It was good. It was really good. Got to see all the family and stuff. My brother and sister-in-law are going to have another baby, and we're having a boy. So I get another nephew to ruin.
All right. Congratulations. How many kids do they have now?
This will be 2.
Or will they have?
This will be 2. And my brother's 40 tomorrow. I'm like, dude, I can't imagine having a newborn at 40. But more power to him. I'm glad they're having another one.
Yeah, well, you started having kids when you were like 16 in true hillbilly boy fashion.
24. Sean was born when I was 24, going on 25. So not that old. But.
Yeah, that's still pretty young by today's standards. I think outside of hillbilly territory, we have a lot of geriatric pregnancies.
Yeah, I know. I've got a friend who is a year older than me and just had a kid. Like, that shit's nuts. I spent Good Friday taking care of my nephew 2 years ago, I think it was. Yeah, he was 4 and I was 40. And like everybody else in the family had stuff going on that day. And I'd gone down to visit for the weekend for Easter. And they're like, "Can you watch Mason for the day? We've all got stuff going on." I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I got this." Oh my God. Boy about ran me ragged. I have a picture of him laying on me, sleeping on my chest. And Stephanie looked at it and she said, "Look at your face. You look like you are about dead." I was like, yeah, at 40 trying to chase a 4-year-old around all day. Whew. Took a lot out of me. I couldn't imagine having kids at my age. I'm glad mine are older. And whew, yeah.
I'm still practicing myself, so we'll see.
You better get on it quick because you're gonna hit that point where you're too old for them.
I think my knees are already too old for them. My knees are like 65, going on 70. But who knows what we're going to come up with in the next couple of years. We got all this AI stuff. Maybe I'll have some bionic knees or some stem cells. Who knows? I'm very optimistic on the future.
And you're in Mexico, so you can get it all on the cheap early on. Like you can be one of the early adopters. Granted, you might get a generic Mexican version that, takes a few tweaks along the way, but powered by jumper beans or something.
Yeah, that's right. There's definitely people that have been doing the stem cell stuff down here for quite some time. I haven't tried that. I've been tempted to kind of shoot some into my shoulder, see what happens. Couldn't get much worse. It's like, what's the worst that could happen?
I mean, if you end up with
one morning and my shoulder pops out of the socket, because that's already happened.
if you wake up one morning with a third arm growing out, it'd be like, all right, we can just remove the one that doesn't work, and we'll let that one be the new one.
Oh man, but it is hell getting old, man. It's just it seems like every month there's like something else that hurts, and it just lasts until you kind of forget about it maybe, and then something else starts hurting. It's like for a while it was like my fucking wrist, and now it's my elbows. It's just like it's like, all right, I guess it's just gonna be like 6 months of elbow pain, and then I don't know if I just get used to it or it actually goes away on its own. But I'm sure once that happens, something else will take its place.
I think we just get used to it, and then we forget that that's something that we deal with every day.
Yeah, it could be. I was like, oh yeah, dude, that wrist was bothering me for like 6 months. What happened to that? It's like, oh yeah, the elbow pain. It's like you have like something wrong, and you smash your hand to take your mind off the pain of your broken foot or something. Anyway.
Well, speaking of pain, sounds like Iran might be in for a heavy dose of pain come, 8 o'clock tonight?
Well, it sounds like the civilization is going to be over. So I do get people texting me from time to time. They're like, hey, you think Trump is gonna bomb more this week based on his tweets, or they're gonna sign some sort of deal? Like, what's the trade that we could put on? Like, dude, don't trade around this. Do not put trades based on fucking Trump tweets. That's not investing. It's not trading. That is pure gambling. It's just okay. Like, if you want to flip a coin, you could make some money. But yeah, so he comes out on Easter Sunday and threatens, basically, what do you call it? Bridge and power plant day or something?
Yeah, it was. Tuesday will be power plant day and bridge day, all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the fucking strait, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah, President Donald J. Trump. That was his Easter Sunday post.
Yeah. So that was unhinged. Threw a jab at Allah in there. All right, that's okay. Happy Easter. And then when did he threaten to end the whole civilization? Was that this morning? It had to be this morning, because the markets weren't going crazy last night. They were just kind of flat. And then, yeah, I wake up this morning and Trump's threatening to end the entire civilization, which I guess the implication there is he's going to nuke.
Yeah, that was sometime overnight or this morning. It says a whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. However, now that we have complete and total regime change, where different, smarter, and less radicalized minds prevail, maybe something revolutionarily wonderful can happen. Who knows? We will find out tonight. One of the most important moments in the long and complex history of the world. 47 years of extortion, corruption, and death will finally end. God bless the great people of Iran. That's crazy to end it. God bless the great people of Iran. Assuming you survive and we don't actually end your entire
civilization ending, bombing. So again, it's right on point for all of his messaging throughout this entire war. It's just like he's talking out of both sides of his mouth. I'm going to end the civilization, but then this, I guess, like a phoenix rising from the ashes. We're going to have all this great society come out of it or something.
There's I think it's a Israeli news station that's got like it's like the 24-hour, one of the 24-hour news stations like Fox or CNN or whatever. And they've got a countdown running on like when this is supposed to happen. Just like on the news desk, they've got a big countdown timer running for when this is supposed to go down.
Right. And
That's
you
just
know, he
nuts.
always, every time he was asked like specific questions about tactics, he's like, well, I'm not going to tip my hand to my enemy. I'm not going to tell him what we're going to do before we do it. But then he comes out and he's like, this exact day at this exact time, all of your bridges are going to be bombed. All of your power plants are going to be bombed, and your civilization is going to be over.
They have issued a blackout on a bunch of satellites and other stuff that are like tracking military activity in the area. So
yeah, I did hear that. There, I think the excuse was that the Iranians had access to it or something. So yeah, they're blacking that out. So now nothing can be confirmed via satellite what the government's claiming is happening. So can you read those bullet points for everybody? Because I can't see them. They're a little too small.
Tehran Times says all communications with the U.S. side has been suspended, and then issues a correction and reverses that. And this was after Trump's Tuesday morning threat that a whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back. Axios cites a glimmer of progress in the negotiations. In a call with Fox's Brett Baer, Trump says the 8 p.m. deadline today could change if negotiations move forward, but sticking to the deadline for now. Karg Island was heavily bombed in preparation for potential U.S. Marine and Special Forces ground seizure. Reports of human chains at bridges, power plants in Iran are forming. Israel has begun attacking Iran's railway infrastructure, telling civilians not to take trains. Cancellations across the country. IRGC is still defiant, announces a new retaliatory attacks on petrochemical plants in eastern Saudi Arabia. Iran's 10-point counter to the U.S. 15-point ceasefire shows willingness to compromise. Vance says the war will end very shortly. Russia, China veto the UNSC Hormuz resolution. Axios has cited that progress has been made in the past 24 hours in negotiations between the U.S. and Iran, though reaching a ceasefire deal by Trump's 8 p.m. Eastern Time deadline still looks like a long shot. According to a U.S. official and Israeli official and two other sources with knowledge of the talks.
Yeah, so actually that glimmer of hope, that is a new development because that was not in there when I sent you this morning. And markets have actually just turned around within the last like couple of minutes. 1:30. So yeah, in the last like 25 minutes, markets have turned around. This is it's starting to look more and more like this is just a Trump. This is the 4D chess that he plays, where he says something fucking outrageous and then he just chickens out. This is the taco trade. Trump always chickens out. He's going to find some sort of way to back away from the deadline. Oh yeah, we're having intriguing talks, or they're, something. They said something that I think is going to be good, so we'll postpone this deadline for like another week or something like that. Like I gotta say, I don't. What he is doing is absolutely ridiculous, but at the same time, you do have to remember that this was Donald Trump's MO the entire time, and a lot of the people that have been freaking out, a lot of libertarians have been freaking out over the last couple of days over these tweets. We're ridiculing people on the left for taking him literally in all of his tweets in his first term. And you know what I mean? They're like, oh yeah, Trump, like the left would freak out when Trump would say something. It's like, that's just Trump being fucking Trump. Right. I think this is him being Trump again. I mean, the stakes are a lot higher, obviously. If you're just gonna, if you're not gonna take him literally, you're gonna take him seriously, or whatever the phrase was. I don't see him dropping a nuke on Iran. I don't see it.
It is bold of the Iranians to form human shields around power plants and bridges, though. Like, did y'all not learn any lessons from Iraq or Afghanistan? Like, the U.S. military does not give a fuck about civilian casualties. You might want to reconsider this.
Yeah, despite the justification for this war initially that, they killed 30,000 protesters, the U.S. government does not give a shit about that. It's just like, I don't know how much more evidence you need that they don't give a fuck about any women, children, or people in general that aren't government agents. Like, yeah, they freaked out over January 6th when their lives were threatened, allegedly. But they couldn't give a fuck, dude. They couldn't give a fuck. They will bomb that bridge either way.
If the Iranian government killed 30,000 Iranians and the U.S. government only kills 15,000, then that's still like we're still the good guys. We still did less damage, right? Like,
yeah. Well, it's the number is 45,000 now. They've upped it. They upped it by 50%. So it's 45,000 now. I still haven't seen anything to support these numbers, but okay. So the Iranian government was so bad they killed 45,000 protesters. So we just had to step in and start killing them ourselves because
as long as we
government hates competition, I suppose.
As long as we kill less than 45,000, we're good. Like we are not the bad guys here.
Yeah, it's just it really is unbelievable. It's like, oh yeah, we need to liberate them by killing another couple thousand. Oh man, and I was joking on Twitter because there's another clip going around of Donald Trump taking questions, and he was saying, you know, the Iranians they love the bombing. When the bombing stops, they tell me they want me to keep bombing them because they know that the bombs mean freedom or something like that, and they're willing to endure all this bombing to gain the freedom. And I was joking back to the I don't know if anybody understood the jokes of Paul Krugman, Keynesian economics, about how stimulative it would be if we had World War III. But it was like he wanted to have like a fake World War III, or like he wanted to have aliens come down. And aliens were going to come down and destroy the planet. And so we were going to stimulate the economy by like preparing for this war with aliens or something like that. So I was joking around about how Iran's just full of all these Keynesians that realize that this is going to be very stimulative for their economy. If you bomb them back to the Stone Age, they get to rebuild everything. And that's super stimulative. And they'll have a fucking bustling economy by the time this is all over. Yeah. A little broken window fallacy for you out there. But I don't think the Iranians appreciate the bombing, I gotta say. I really don't think they like getting bombs dropped on them constantly, whether it's from their own government or from ours. I don't think it really matters from their perspective who's killing them. But yeah, I mean, I think even the markets aren't really believing that this is going to be a thing at 8 o'clock Eastern. So it's 2 o'clock right now, my time. So that's 4 o'clock Eastern. So in 4 hours, there's either all hell's going to break loose or Trump's going to chicken out.
Well,
what do you think is going to happen?
Speaking of the Keynesian economics, there is always money in war. The U.S. has already spent over $42 billion on the Iran war so far. Although, if it does wrap up and end pretty quickly, that's kind of a deal as far as war goes. I think on average with the Iraq war, they spent about $140 billion per year, and then with the Afghanistan war, it was around $115 to $120 billion per year. So, I mean, if we can get out of this $42 billion price tag, that ain't too shabby.
Yeah, but it's only been like 40 days. So we're spending we're on track to spend about $1 billion a day. So yeah, if this doesn't end soon, we're looking at a $360 billion fucking price tag per year. That's a little expensive, I think, given our budgetary constraints in the U.S.
Just print more, Johnny. It'll be fine.
I know. Yeah, and that's what, again, dude. Like I'm watching like precious metals just fucking tank every time the war gets worse. I'm just like, because the Fed's not going to cut rates anymore this year because you can't cut rates if we're at war, right? Okay. How about if we're spending another $1 billion a day that we weren't budgeted to spend? It's like, you think that's going to hurt the currency? Even if the Fed isn't cutting rates, if we're spending another couple $100 billion this year that we weren't planning on spending, and Donald Trump's trying to pass a $1.5 trillion budget for the military, you think that might be inflationary? Oh, I haven't seen the Doug Stanhope Keynesian bit. I'll have to look that up. I'll have to put that in the tickler. But yeah, it's always, yeah, if only we could start another war, we'd really stimulate the economy. So what do you think is going to be the result of this? Do you think we're going to drop some extra bombs tonight, or do you think Trump's going to find some sort of deal at the 11th hour?
I'm not sure that either are going to happen. I was looking through the 10 points of the counter deal that Iran. So the U.S. had submitted a 15-point peace plan. Iran countered with a 10-point plan. I don't see any way that Trump agrees to points 7 through 10 on the 10-point plan. So
let's pull those up real quick, just in case anybody hadn't seen them.
So
I know they got rid of the demand for reparations or something to be paid.
Right. So the 10-point plan guarantee that Iran will not be attacked again, permanently end the war, not just a ceasefire, end the Israeli strikes in Lebanon, lift all U.S. sanctions on Iran, end the regional fighting against Iranian allies, and in return, Iran will open the Strait of Hormuz. Iran would also impose a Hormuz fee of $2 million per ship. Iran would split this with Oman. Iran would provide rules for safe passage through Hormuz, and they will use those fees for reconstruction instead of reparations.
Yeah, so before the war started, we had an open Strait of Hormuz, and we didn't have to pay a fee, correct?
As far as I'm aware, I'm sure there was some sort of
right. Yeah, but not like there's like a fee for passage, like there is for like the Panama Canal or something. But this would be in addition to whatever this would just go to the Iranian government or whatever.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Great negotiating, Trump. It's looking really good here. It's looking like we can't even get back to where we were before all this started. But he'll fall back on the fact that now Iran can't nuke us. Okay, I don't think they ever could, but if you believe that, I guess you'll have a non-nuclear armed Iran will be paying more for oil. The whole world will be paying more for oil so that they can rebuild Iran. Maybe if can they put in a horizon on that fee once they've rebuilt, the fee ends? I don't know. Get me on the phone with Trump. I'll negotiate this.
Like I said, I don't think a deal happens under these terms, but who knows? It's possible that come 8 p.m. there won't be a deal, but they also won't start bombing because they're going to be discussing the new terms of the next offer on the deal. And so they're like, all right, well, we're having good language between us on making a compromise and getting this thing worked out. So we'll hold off for another 48 hours and see how it goes.
I think that's the most realistic outcome of this. And that's how Donald Trump operates. It's the art of the deal. You say something fucking nuts to get him to come, to the negotiating table.
Although apparently Israel is already hitting trains, like the train transports in Iran. So and that's possible, and it's possible that is part of the art of the deal, like hit some strategic train depots throughout the course of the day to be like, hey, look, like we're serious. We will do damage if we need to.
I don't doubt that Israel will do it. They love a good bombing campaign.
Well, okay, so there's also a lot of it talked about in like early on in this article that that there's been some damage done to Saudi Arabian
the
plants and stuff like
whatever
that.
that plant was. Yeah, I saw that.
It's like they might have some historical hatred there that they're just exercising. But like some Saudi Arabian plants had been hit as well. And there's the whole Saudi Arabian side of this too. Like Saudi Arabia is not particularly happy with Iran, and they pull a lot of strings in this whole thing too, even though they don't actively militarily involve themselves quite to the degree Israel does. They have quite a bit of a thumb on what's going on over there with all of this as well, which gets kind of pushed under the rug a lot. But like it's not all just Israel pushing this. There's a lot of other actors involved in everything that's going on right now, and hopefully they get some sort of a deal figured out.
Yeah, and like one of the first or second bullet points was like Israel has to stop attacking us and Lebanon. It's like, oh, dude, that's never gonna happen. I don't know how you get, even if you get Israel to fucking agree to it, will they fucking stand by the agreement? Probably not. It's like they have like they're like a compulsive gambler, but with bombs. They just have to fucking drop them like every 12 hours. So yeah, that's throwing a wrinkle into things for sure. And they clearly just it doesn't seem like they respect Donald Trump. Like they've blown up these negotiations, pun intended, a few times. They've done things that Donald Trump said not to do right after he asked them not to do it. Going back to the 12-day war, they were fucking around with stuff when he was trying to get that ceasefire going. So yeah, that's going to be a problem. But yeah, I think in the next couple hours, Donald Trump's going to walk that back, be like, oh, we're having some really encouraging talks, and so we'll push the deadline. And this might be his way again of like manipulating the markets. Instead of the markets just constantly going down, he's like, okay, I'll send them down, then I'll send them back up, and then I'll send them down and I'll send them back up. So he can kind of keep markets flat instead of them just being in a constant downward trajectory. I don't know. Maybe that's part of his 4D chess as well. But I don't know how many more times you can, cry wolf on this thing and get people to believe you. It doesn't sound like anybody believes that he's actually going to go through with bombing an entire civilization out of existence. And, he does always exaggerate, and he loves to bloviate.
Well,
and he hasn't stuck to any of these deadlines really.
And talking about, manipulating the markets, maybe if he had done a little bit more of, giving some encouragement, the Dow would not have dropped below 50,000, and then Pam Bondi would still have a job.
Yeah. So while we were away, Pam Bondi got her fucking walking papers. Did this surprise you at all?
No and yes. I thought it would come earlier, but I guess I have also been calling for it since like January. Like I think there for a while I had has Pam Bondi been fired this week every Friday. It's like, has Pam Bondi been fired this week? No. What the fuck?
Yeah, it was another just really disappointing appointments of his going in. I mean, they've all just been complete and utter disappointments. Maybe RFKJ hasn't been a huge disappointment, Health and Human Services, but yeah, Pam Bondi, like the Epstein file debacle. None of these criminal government officials have been arrested for anything. They botched at least two cases. One against is it Letitia James? They botched that one, and then another one got thrown out for like a procedural thing.
And that's the problem is they didn't get thrown out because they didn't have what they needed to prosecute. They got thrown out because they fucked up procedurally and didn't do something right. Like, that's your entire purpose as the AG, is to make sure that you cross your T's, dot your I's, get this fucking thing right, and go after people. And then they're fucking up like basic shit with the procedural stuff. It's like,
I think it was the auto pen.
This should have happened a long time ago, but it got drug out. Of course, the dude that is currently filling in the role, Todd Blanche, he's absolutely fucking useless too. He is one of the reasons why a lot of this stuff didn't get done that should have gotten done while Bondi was AG. He was her assistant, or the second in command, and he's one who fucked some things up and dismissed other things and didn't let some things move forward. So the sooner that motherfucker can be outed and replaced with literally anybody else, the better, because he's also completely useless.
Yeah, just what, and they came up with some weird excuse as to why they did it now. It was she tipped off like Eric Swalwell about some report or charges that they were going to bring.
If it was known that Pam Bondi was friends with Eric Swalwell, that should have been disqualifying from the fucking jump. Like, she never should have been given a position in anything. If you're friends with Eric Swalwell, you should not be close to anything government related.
Yeah, that guy is such a jagoff. But yeah, so I remember seeing something when this broke that it had, like, she tipped him off about some report that was coming out with about him and Fang, because he wants to run for governor, right, of California, and so they're going to drop this report to try to hurt his chances for that, I think. And apparently she tipped him off on that. I don't know if that is the actual reason, or they just needed some sort of an excuse. But yeah, you'd think, like, I don't know if Donald Trump was doing it now, like waiting for enough time to pass after all the stupid fuck ups to kind of sweep it under the rug a little bit. And I don't know. The timing was kind of weird, but can't say I'm surprised when you do that bad of a job. Somebody's head has to roll. And I mean, I don't know if it's all on her, all the fuck ups, but she certainly did a bad enough job in that role where it's just like, yeah, another Trump appointee bites the dust.
Well, and then Lee Zeldin is the name that's being floated as the next AG, which he currently is serving as the head of the EPA. I don't know if he'll necessarily be
head of the EPA.
I don't know if he'll necessarily be better. He has a better track record as far as political positioning on a lot of things than what Bondi did. Bondi was a Trump loyalist and had been Florida AG. Lee Zeldin has a little more meat on his political resume, and by and large had been decent for most of his political career, at least not terrible. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how all of that kind of shakes out. They are saying Bondi's going to move into a private sector role, whatever the fuck that means.
Probably write a book. Probably write a book. I don't know. Yeah, good riddance. I'm kind of with you on that. Just another really disappointing appointment in a long line of disappointing. There was also a story they were floating out that he was going to fire Tulsi Gabbard.
I saw an update on that, and he more or less shot that down.
Okay.
He said he and Tulsi don't necessarily agree on how to go about doing things, but they're aligned on what needs to get done, and he's very pleased with her in her role. So that seems to be, although after Bondi last week and Kristi Noem got axed a couple weeks ago, which that one's kind of fucking hilarious. I didn't realize that Kristi Noem had gotten fired. I just saw the stuff about her husband wearing like the fake tits and doing like all of this crazy shit. I don't know if like that came out and that led to her firing, and then it got leaked after the fact.
I think it leaked I think they fired her because they knew it was coming. I could be getting the timing wrong on that, but yeah, what a weird and she was banging some other dude too. It was like pretty. Did they ask her about it in some congressional hearing? She was banging like her assistant or something.
I think that'd been some years ago when she had done that, but yeah, like things had come to light that she had had kind of a.
So yeah, I guess not surprising if your husband's slapping on a pair of tits that you're gonna start banging somebody else. Yeah, what a weird fucking. I don't know what the hell's going on, dude. It's just a goddamn clown show. Absolute fucking clown show in DC.
I didn't necessarily like a lot of these people when Trump came into office. Don the Pleb and I sat down and talked about like his nominees, and like I didn't really like a lot of these candidates for stuff. Like I understood the reasoning for why Trump picked a lot of them, because they were people who had said or done the right thing to get on Trump's good side so that they could get an appointment to something. But there were better candidates for a lot of these jobs, and he picked people who were loyal to him instead of people who were well qualified for the job. And I understood that because after his first term, where he came in saying he was going to drain the swamp and then ended up with a bunch of swamp creatures running the entire thing again. You thought like he's picking a bunch of Trump loyalists because they're not going to be loyal to the swamp, but instead they're just fucking terrible. And still seem to have divided loyalties. They're not loyal to what his campaign was centered around. They're loyal to keeping things status quo, basically, is what it seems like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the swamp is the swamp for a reason too. You have to know, like, you have to be good enough to know how to navigate it in order to get things done. Even if you are going to be a Trump loyalty isn't enough, as we saw with Pam Bondi botching all these investigations. Like you gotta be better. So yeah, we've gotten zero arrests, zero fucking, and all of these judges too have just been jerking Trump around on immigration stuff. They've just, it just comes across as like incredibly inept across the board. And I don't see how he can just unilaterally bomb a civilization out of existence if he can't even get a judge to do what he wants. But I guess we'll see. How things go. But yeah, with these after these midterms, I don't think he's going to be able to do anything anyway. I mean, it's going to matter. He's just going to be getting impeached constantly.
It'll be interesting to see how that. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. The guy that replaced Noem is Mark Wayne Mullen. He's he's one kind of like Lee Zeldin, has a better background and has served on committees with DHS and immigration stuff previously and has also had the correct stance on a lot of things. So it might be a better pick. You know, like Noem and Bondi didn't really have the political chops for those positions. They were Trump loyalists who said all the right things leading up to appointment time. And like Zeldin and Mullen seem to have better track record as far as being qualified for the positions, for whatever that's worth. And I think Kristi Noem probably had to get fired just because of, like, even though the officers aren't going to have charges pressed on them for the stuff that happened in Minneapolis and some of that other stuff, like, she had to be the sacrificial goat to get the left to shut the fuck up, right? Like, something had to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well,
she also said a lot of really retarded shit when all that was going on that did not help matters either.
yeah,
and Bondi did the same thing. She said a lot of the Dow's over 50,000. Like, you say retarded shit. Like, this administration only has room for one retarded shit sayer, and he is all over Truth Social, and that's it. You cannot.
Yeah, it doesn't work for anybody else.
Be a part of this administration and say stupid shit. That is his job. Leave it to the professional.
Yeah, she literally called the top of the market too. That was just classic. It's like I think literally if it wasn't the next day, it was like 2 days later, we were back under 50,000, and we haven't seen it since.
It's like when the kicker comes out and the announcer goes, "Oh, he hasn't missed a single field goal all year. This is a chip shot," and then he just shanks it off into the bleachers.
Yeah.
Way out the side.
Yeah, you got to go and put the heebie-jeebie jinx on it. Throw that stuff out into the ether, and it comes back at you. Yeah, the Dow's at 46,557 is where it closed today. So, it was only down about 112 points, 113 points. But yeah, just absolute classic. The announcers always have to do that. I was watching did you watch the NCAA tournament at all?
I watched the Final Four over the weekend. I watched a handful of games over the last couple weeks, but I just haven't been.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the championship last night. I tuned in and watched a little bit here and there just to kind of check and see what the score was, but I didn't sit down and watch last night's game.
Yeah, they were in last night's game. The announcer was like, "Oh, they haven't had a turnover yet. UConn hasn't had a turnover yet." And it's like the next 10 minutes of the half, it was like, "Oh, 16 of the last 19 possessions have been turnovers or something on both sides." It's like some crazy stat. Like they went on a 5-minute run where it was just 6 out of 9 possessions were turnovers or something. It was absolutely classic. Decent game overall, I guess. I don't know. The refs were a little too involved for me,
and that's crazy because every game that I had watched up to this point, the refs had largely stayed out of it. So the refs being too involved in last night's game seems kind of nuts because when my brother and I were watching some games a couple weeks ago when I was down there, and then the Final Four games on Saturday. It's like, oh, he was like, they're kind of letting them play. I was like, everything that I've watched, all through the tournament, they've been letting them play. There have been some plays that I was like, damn, something should have been called on somebody there. There's too many bodies on the floor.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I mean, I saw them. They had something called 11 fouls on UConn in the first half, and they had called 4, I think, on Michigan. And one of those fouls was it was, what did they call it? A hook and hold or something like that. This guy, they were going for a rebound, and this dude hooked his arm and kept it down so he couldn't reach up with both arms. They called a fucking flagrant foul on that. They gave him 2 shots and the ball. And that was when it was it was a pretty close game. It was probably like a 4-point game or something at that point. And then that put them up by 8 going into the half. And they just never really recovered from it. But anyway, it was entertaining, I suppose. I don't know how I got onto that. Oh, yeah, with them jinxing things.
Well, all right. Speaking of calling things and jinxing stuff, did CNN jinx anything by saying this about the jobs numbers?
I mean, the expectation was what, 60,000 jobs, and it's 178? Wow.
Yeah, look, the job market bounced back in a big way in March, and that is good news, really blowing away expectations.
Yeah. So, yeah, this was going to be part of Friday's show, but I decided to not do one. We got jobs numbers on Friday, and I thought it was interesting that CNN was on board too. Like all the major, I think I probably sent you another 2 or 3 clips. They were all just going crazy over this jobs number. The jobs number was 178,000 jobs added, which is
not good.
Number. That's not a good number.
That's not good.
The only way that can be spun as a good number is if your expectation was for 68,000 or 62,000 or whatever it was. So it's like, oh, we blew expectations out of the water. You want to know what it was the month before? It was negative 52,000 or something. And of course that got revised lower.
Yeah, here's Fox News covering it.
Look at the futures jump, and it is because this is one heck of a report, folks. Wow is right, Steve Moore. Non-farm jobs coming in 178,000. 178,000 jobs. The expectation was 60,000, folks. The unemployment rate went down to 4.3%. The expectation was 4.4%. We didn't get a loss in manufacturing jobs. We got a hit of 15,000 manufacturing jobs. Private sector jobs, get this, folks, 186,000. 186,000. The estimate was for 70,000.
So set your expectations low, and then when you over deliver, everybody gets excited. Even though that over delivery still is way below pace of what you need. What we've talked about it before. What it needs to be like 225,000, I think.
Yeah,
is what it needs
something
to be.
like that to keep up with the population. It's over 200,000. So yeah, any other time, if Joe Biden came out with 178,000, he'd be ripping on him for a terrible economy. But wow, oh my God, what a great number this was. It's a shit number. The expectation was for 60 something. So that tells you how good of a position we were in before this. Like I said, the month before was negative 52,000, I think, and that got revised low, like significantly lower.
It ended up getting revised to negative 133,000 after it was all said and done.
Okay. Yeah.
You want to zoom in on that? Here we go. The January numbers are all right. So going back to October lost 140,000. November gained 40,000. December lost 17,000. January gained 160. February lost 133, and then March we gained 178. So it's still not doing very good.
And it will 99.9% chance it gets that 178 gets revised lower significantly over the next couple of months. So yeah, it was really something to watch all these news outlets try to beat the drums for how great the economy is all of a sudden.
Although this is a big number that affects all of this. In the last year, the federal government has cut 330,000 jobs. That's a lot, and that's not a bad thing. But that also does factor into these numbers as well.
Yeah. Well, and then the other thing that's coming down the pike is all of these jobs that are being taken by AI. Like all these huge tech companies are laying off tens of thousands of workers that they don't need anymore. That's got Bernie Sanders freaking out. But again, dude, these are good things in the short term. Yeah, it's gonna hurt when hundreds of thousands of people lose their jobs, but we are quite literally freeing up labor to do other things. AI will be labor saving devices. And just like any other labor saving devices, just like that, you buy the little fucking Roomba thing to sweep your floors. Now you don't have to sweep your floors. The 45 minutes you would take to vacuum or sweep, you can now do something else with. So I think we're going to see a lot more really bad jobs numbers. But I think it's sort of a mix of like the transitioning to a more AI based economy, but also the economy is shit. There's also that. It's kind of hard to differentiate, but yeah, if we can get rid of another couple 100,000 government jobs, that's another step in the right direction. But man, they got to stop spending money too. They got to stop spending money. And they are fucking spending a ton of goddamn money. I think we're going to be at 40 trillion pretty soon. And yeah, we're not going to get interest rate. It doesn't look like we're going to get any rate cuts out of the Fed anytime soon as well. For the first time, I think last week or the week before, they were actually talking about rate hikes again. I don't think they can hike rates we can't afford much more interest on 40 trillion. We're already spending $1 trillion a year in interest. So yeah, this is going to be the next couple of years. I think are going to be pretty trying for the U.S. economy. But yeah, adding 178,000 jobs is absolutely nothing to be bragging about. It's fun to watch them try to spin it though. Under promise and over deliver. That's how I roll.
Hell yeah! Set the expectations low, then nobody's disappointed in you. Oh, you got anything else for today? I think that ran through everything that I had.
Yeah, I had some, I always have random shithole Chicago things if we need to fill some time, but
we can do a whole bunch of shithole Chicago on Friday. Or we might be talking about the end of Iranian civilization as we know it on Friday. Who knows? It could be.
Yeah, what's going to be a bigger shithole
this could go a whole bunch of different ways.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see if Chicago can overtake Iran as a shithole by Friday, or vice versa. Iran can overtake Chicago. I'll have to see. But yeah, suffice it to say, Chicago's not doing great. They're dealing with a lot of what do they call them? I don't know. When all these teens get together and take over, street takeovers or whatever. There's a bunch of those going on. A bunch of holes in the budget. A lot of deficits. Trying to raise taxes and all kinds of stuff. So if Brandon Johnson just gets together with all the other leaders of shithole cities, New York, California, Portland, Washington.
They could just get 100% income tax. Then they could fund all of and then you wouldn't even need your money because they would be able to provide you with everything that you need always.
Yeah,
you just work and you give it. You just work and then you give all of that to the government, and they will then do all of these programs that will completely take care of you, and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, somebody needs to come up with talk about Doug Stanhope or something, some sort of skit where you make the pitch that government is implicitly making with the income tax and Social Security and everything. Like nobody would take that deal. All these deals are shit. But Elizabeth Warren is working on a new tax just for billionaires, just a wealth tax, just a couple pennies out of every dollar, and that will fund all the stuff that you guys want. So she's working on that, and just remember that hundreds of billions of dollars are going to fucking Somalis and trains to nowhere over the next week or so. You better be preparing your admission to how much money you earned, and perhaps stroking a check to keep this train going. Some more bombing in the Middle East, some more Somali daycare centers, and trains to nowhere. But yeah, so we'll be back on Tuesday, the day before your taxes are due, and I'll probably have a rant a very passionate rant about that because I'm in the process of preparing to stroke these motherfucker and pedophile killers another check. Even though I use nothing. Not even over there. Not even in the country, Justin. And I still have to pay them for their roads. So until then, you guys know what to do. Just keep on peddling that so-called fiction. Peace.